Debate number 2 here on the Newshour Agenda. And this is a debate, ladies and gentlemen, that is going to, at this moment, be of interest to everybody, especially you and I, the Aadmi of this country. India's economic growth, at least the projections say that it's on the right track. Despite the Russian invasion, the pressure which has been, put on the global economic recovery, the government, at least the Aadmi, was hoping that the government of India and the economic system would not be putting more pressure on the Aadmi in the country, which is already suffering from, fuel price getting extremely high, dearer. It's in 3 figures. Also, at this moment, the consumer price index, the inflation in the country, is on a 17th month high, well above the 6% mark that is believed to be tolerable by the Reserve Bank of India. And to try and combat that very issue, India's central bank, as many banks across the globe, though in a surprise move, announced hike in the repo rate or the lending rate by almost 0.5%, 0.40%. Now, let me simplify what it means for you sitting at home, who is already every day when you go to the petrol pump, you are in fact seeing those 3-figure marks that you are paying right now. So you're already under that stress. For you and I, it means that we will have to shell out more money to pay our monthly installments. Or if you are planning to buy a car or a house, you will have to delay it possibly, because the lending rate, the interest rate for our EMIs, for home loans, for car loans is going to go up. While the RBI is hoping this will tame inflation, the money in our pockets at this moment will dwindle even faster.
As the war draws on and sanctions and retaliatory actions intensify, shortages, volatility in commodity and financial markets, supply dislocations, and most alarmingly, persistent and spreading inflationary pressures are becoming more acute with every passing day. Debt distress is rising in developing world amidst capital outflows and currency deficit.
You're watching the News Hour at 10, debate number 2 on Times Now, Super Prime Time.
Zafar Islam, Member of Parliament and National Spokesperson of the BJP, is joining me this evening. We also have Sri Iyer, author. Ghanshyam Tiwari of the Samajwadi Party is also with us this evening. Abhishek Rajaram, economist, with us as well. Gentlemen, thank you so much for being with us. I want to start with you, Zafar Islam, and I want to understand from you, it's not that the inflation grew yesterday. From November, we have been seeing an upward trend as far as the inflation is concerned. The prices of fuel is already skyrocketing. Do RBI is enough, and isn't it too little too late?
Well, RBI has taken this decision purely because of the evolving situation they were monitoring, and global dynamic is something which is evident for everyone to see, because the Ukraine crisis has created a lot of issues for every country. For instance, the gas supply to Europe has been stopped by Russia. The upward pressure on prices is on all the commodities. So there's a lot of issues which every central bank is facing these days, and every central bank is taking this. And interest rate has been high by 40 basis points. But if you just see what was the rate in 2018, it was 6.5%. Then just before the COVID, it was 5.15%, and today it's 4.4%. That has been hiked by 40 basis points.
Okay.
There's something which everybody knows, that there is upward pressure on interest rate, and it had to be hiked. There's something which we could have everyone expecting in the April policy, that they would have hiked. RBI would have hiked.
But these are also extraordinary times when people are already under a lot of stress. They were looking at the government for some relief. With this, the Aam Aadmi is going to be under more stress.
No, but let me ask you a very candid question. When the repo rate was 6.5% in 2018, it was reduced to 4%. Till recently, it was 4%. Till this morning, it was 4%. Did you ever mention that the Aam Aadmi was a beneficiary because the interest rate was, the repo rate was reduced to by 250 basis points.
Okay, so I'll mention it that the Aam Aadmi was beneficiary, but what now, sir?
See, it doesn't, see, small changes based on the market dynamics has to be done by the Reserve Bank. This is their responsibility.
Okay, Ghanshyam Tiwari, these are small changes. These are prevailing market situations. We've seen the stress that the country across the globe most economies across the globe are because of the situation that is prevailing in Ukraine. The government's argument is that, what can we do? Our hands are tied.
Good evening, Ankit, to you, the panelists, as well as the viewers. Take 2018, year that Zafar Islam Member of Parliament quoted. 2018, the RBI Governor, former RBI Governor Raghuram Rajan told the Modi government, stop blaming the global markets for the pressure on Indian economy. 2018-19 annual report of RBI said that India was going to go through a great growth, but then the global situation changed. Since that time, every year, as the economy has tanked, jobs have gone missing, as the communal politics of BJP has raged and people have been in trouble, BJP has blamed some factor or another on the situation of economy. Second, even in the parliament, the Prime Minister eloquently spoke about how former first Prime Minister of India, Nehruji, who BJP loves to blame on any issue, was also worried about inflation and how something happens in Korea that impacts inflation. At the same time, the Prime Minister was saying in February that they are working to tame inflation. The Finance Minister was dismissing inflation as a serious problem. She continues to not see as a major problem, as was reported in her her last month press briefs.
Right.
So clearly, this government is for it, whether it is jobs, whether it is inflation, whether it is economy, it is not a priority.
Okay.
For the Prime Minister and the Finance Minister, it is not a situation that is either in their control or they can do anything about it. And even if it was in their control, it is not serious enough.
Okay, so it's the time when people, the economy is already hit, their budgets are hit, the unemployment situation is grave in this country. At a time like this, when the government says, or blames the geopolitical situation or sanctions for the inflationary trend, the government forgets that this is not just when the Ukraine war started. This trend has been there for the last few months.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. But we have to remember that other countries have hiked their repo rates at least more than twice. And this is the first time India is hiking it. I think this is just the monetary policy of India. The government will have to step in with a sensible fiscal policy. I have not seen the Modi government do anything for the middle class, but I have seen the Modi government do a lot for the lower classes because they're giving free rations, they're making sure that the rations reach their homes.
Yes.
So those things actually kind of shelter the lower masses from taking a price hit. Why?
Okay.
I tell you, because whenever, you said that petrol prices are higher at the pump. If the government is delivering, rice, wheat and pulses to the customers, they are not being burdened because it's being given to them free. The government is absorbing the shock of that. So there is a certain amount of absorbing that the government is doing. However, I would also like this government to consider that 1 in 6 today is a middle class person, and for them there need to be some fiscal initiative incentives so that
Abhishek Rajaram, is there any guarantee that what the RBI has done, the repo rate increase, it's the last one, because there are experts who are saying that this is just the beginning of that upward trend as far as the repo rate is concerned, and is there any guarantee that this is going to tame the inflation?
Too little, too late. This should have been done around September last year, and this is just the beginning. Incidentally, what I feel that today they should have raised at least 100 basis points, not 40 basis points, and I feel that repo rate should be something around 5.5. This is just the beginning, and RBI will not be able to tame inflation because of just 40 basis points. And it will create a problem, a different type of problem. See, 58.5% of home loans are on floating rate. So at least out of 10, for 6 people, EMI will be increased tomorrow itself.
Okay.
So this could be a bigger shocker for many of us who are dependent on who are paying EMI for the home loan.
Absolutely.
Second, one more problem, sir. Because of this, repo rate has increased. Taking loan from the bank will increase, and this will reduce cash flows of the industry, and thus they would have less cash flow to invest, and employment will again they would not be able to provide employment, and unemployment.
And that problem is grave. And Syed Zafar Islam, the fact is that, just to explain to our viewers very simply, that the repo rate has been increased so that, how will the RBI tame the inflation? So that the increased repo rate, there will be less people will be coming up into the market, less, borrowing as far as the banks are concerned. This will increase as far as the demand is concerned, and prices, in fact, which had gone up, there will be more availability and the prices will come down. The government is thinking that because of the demand sector, there has been inflation, but isn't the inflation because of the supply side of the market? Is the government using a wrong, in fact, prescription right now?
Ankit, it is very unfair to say that it is being taken by RBI, which is an independent body, and that is the job they are doing. Secondly, you have to understand what are the issues which the government is facing. First, external issues, where we are not oil producing country. The prices, even though the prices more or less have stabilized for crude, but the petroleum products, the final products prices have widened because of the various constraints economy is facing. Like, for instance, China, I said that they have stopped supplying gas to Germany and many other European countries. That will impact the diesel prices and petrol prices. Likewise, the refineries in China, their capacity has come up. That will impact the prices, petroleum product prices. That is increasing putting pressure on inflation. So RBI had to take some call to tame the inflation. Besides, then they also have the pressure on currency. Don't you remember what had happened in 2013 when there was a free fall?
Okay.
And rupee was depreciating, and if you can recollect, the government of India at that point in time had to increase repo rate by 200 basis points to ensure that the prices of rupee against dollar.
Ghanshyam Tiwari, in all this jargon, what about the common man? Tomorrow.
Just a second. Let me just complete.
Carry on, sir. Quickly, 10 seconds.
The government of India under Modi ji has done for every class, be it in the poor and marginalized section of the society, as people were saying, that we distribute ration. We ensure that they are not burdened with any of these factors, but also for the middle class. Many
the middle class is being juiced out like a sugarcane in that machine, which makes the sugarcane juice.
Not at all.
I mean, it's completely been juiced out like that. And on top of it, when the government uses that money for their welfare schemes, the government expects all of us and everybody to come out and say, thank you, Ghanshyam Tiwari. What about the common man?
Let me talk about the middle class. What made you say that? I mean, I'm really surprised. We have come up with several schemes. And Ayushman Bharat scheme, who it is benefiting? It is the middle class.
And sir, who is being benefited by record high unemployment, by this inflation, by petrol prices, by a complete, the saving rates that people have? They are able to save nothing. There is COVID, 2 years of COVID, and you are telling me that Ghanshyam Tiwari, in the end, just 10 seconds, Ghanshyam Tiwari, I'm completely out of time. Has the government completely forgotten the Aam Aadmi, the middle class?
Ankit, when the Prime Minister speaks at an election rally, he speaks to the Aam Aadmi. When he says, "बहुत हुई महंगाई की मार, अब की बार मोदी सरकार, बेरोजगारी की बार मोदी सरकार, सबका साथ, सबका विश्वास, अच्छे दिन आएंगे." But when he wins the Aam Aadmi's vote, he speaks for the Khas Aadmi that this government supports.
Right.
BJP has remained the richest party. They have continued continued to loot the Aam Aadmi through the petrol and diesel prices, and they've continued to look the other way as people have suffered without jobs this COVID and beyond. So clearly this government has no plan for the Aam Aadmi.
Completely out of time. Whether the government has no plan or it's been an oversight, but at least at this moment, Ghanshyam Tiwari, it looks very, very difficult. And Mr. Zafar Islam, for the Aam Aadmi, they are hoping, wanting, looking at the government for some relief. Thank you, gentlemen, for joining me on debate number 2 here on the Newshour Agenda. That's all the time that we have in this edition. News and updates continue on Times Now. Stay tuned.